Hello guys and welcome back to TomTalks. This is going to be the last World Cup video. The tournament is over. We are going to be discussing the third place playoff and the final. The tournament is over. There will be a short prediction video coming probably tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with the third place playoff. England won. And what a cracking game it was. Like, that might be the best I've seen us play at a tournament from an attacking sense, of course. Defensively, we and France were all over the place. But that first half was terrific, wasn't it? I mean, fantastic goal from Declan Rice. Obviously, Saka was offside, but then the second goal, lovely ball in from Rice, lovely header from Konza. There was then that Rashford-Saka thing where Saka eventually gets it through. And then that ball through from Eze, which Saka finishes off. It was lovely. And at half-time, I was like, what am I watching? Like, England were beating France 4-0. And I know the game doesn't really matter. But it put a smile on my face. And you know what? That's a better way to end the tournament, I think, personally. Second half, though, France turned on the style. Mbappe and Elise playing lovely football as we've seen all tournament. Mbappe gets a couple of goals. Barcola does as well. I think we just couldn't handle them. I think Jarrell Kwanzaa really struggling to defend and deal with them. And it got to 4-3. Tuchel then makes some changes, which is what we needed. Ollie Watkins also, by the way, did not look good on the left-hand side. And then, you know, Jed Spence, who has had a good tournament, I've got to say. One of the highlights of this England team, for me, wins a penalty. Saka gets his hat-trick. France then get another goal. Upamecano really changed the game for France in the second half, both from a defensive perspective and from like a progressive perspective as well. And he plays it through. It's a lovely finish by Dembele. And then Jude Bellingham, just masterclass. That run, the mentality, just he kept going. You kept thinking, maybe shoot now. But he found the right moment. 6-4, game's done. And it's a lovely way for England to finish the tournament. I mean, France were awful in that first half. And defensively, we were pretty awful in the second half. But that was a true display of the attacking talent of these teams. And you know what? It's a nice way to end the tournament. And it's the first time we've ever won a third place playoff. We lost in 1990 to Italy. And then in 2018, of course, we lost to Belgium. But, yeah, it's a tournament where I think we'll look back and think, it could have been our year. But it wasn't to be. And hopefully Tuchel learns from his mistakes and going forward, we can play better. Hopefully Saka and Rice can be fitter, because you know, people have criticised Tuchel for not playing Saka in the semi-final, but Saka and Rice have been absolutely knackered in this tournament. Saka's been on and off in terms of injuries, so you can say that really. But yeah, hopefully for the Euros, which apparently we have to qualify for, even though we're hosts. I didn't know that was a thing, but hopefully we qualify. We should qualify. And then hopefully we can go all the way. I think we've just got to improve a bit defensively. And, you know, Harry Kane, I imagine, will be playing at the next Euros. But we've got to find a striker who can, you know, take his place. Because Tony's decent, but as we saw in the game, lacks a bit of a goal-scoring instinct against the bigger teams, is a different player to Kane. He's more getting in the box, causing a threat. Watkins is more sort of a bit not a pace merchant, you know. We'll get into the positions, but I think we need to find a quality striker. And to be fair, it's difficult at the moment. You know, there's not many world-class strikers these days. You know, there's Kane, there's Haaland, there's Mbappe, arguably Julian Alvarez, but there's not many. There's not many. So, but let's quickly go over the England players at this tournament. Jordan Pickford, I thought, was pretty good. there was a bit of a doubt with him because there has been times where he's made mistakes, or, the Congo goal. He looked a bit shaky in the Norway game at times, but Dean Henderson, as an audition tape for that other game, I don't think he showed he should keep his place. He made some good saves, but I think, going forward, if Pickford is not going to be our number one, we'll have to see how James Trafford does over the next couple of years. In terms of defenders, Gehi was a bit shaky, I've got to say, but I still think he's a good defender. John Stones, I think, was pretty solid at this tournament, but we'll have to see who he goes to. Ezri Konsa was pretty decent. I think he lacks some of the attacking ability in the right-back position. I think he should predominantly be a centre-back. But I thought he had a decent tournament. Reece James was pretty good when he played. It's just those injury problems that's always going to be an issue. Trevor Chalobah played a little bit. I think he was slightly at fault. I don't think he was great with Dembele on the last goal. Again, I think we have better centre-backs than Trevor Chalobah, to be honest. Dan Burn did his job, I suppose, but I think Harry Maguire is a better player than Dan Burn is, personally. And I think both of them probably might not be at the next tournament. If so, they definitely won't be at the next World Cup, in my opinion. So, yeah, we've got to try and find that style of centre-back who can do those things. Nico O'Reilly was pretty solid, I thought. Offered something in attack, was decent defensively, I think. Was good. Decent, Jed Spence was fantastic. I think he's been one of our best players this tournament, has been a real star. And I think he could be England's left-back for quite a while, I honestly do. He's got the attacking ability. He's got the good defensive ability. I really liked him at this tournament. We'll have to see how he does over the next few years. But I think Tuchel made the right call in the end. Because would Luke Shaw have done what he did? Not sure. Lewis Hall? Dunno. So, yeah, I think Jed Spence and Nico O'Reilly are our left-backs. We do need to find another right-back, though, in my opinion, because of Reece James' just lack of fitness. Forgot to mention Jarrell Kwanzaa. He was okay, I guess. I don't know. I think England has better centre-backs, and we need to find a proper secondary right back. I know Livramento got injured, but as I said, that's a position we need to find. And Kwanzaa, he doesn't cut the mustard. Midfield wise, Elliot Anderson was fantastic. He had a really good tournament. I think it's safe to say he'll be playing for us for quite a while. Declan Rice, of course, he had issues, but the France game showed his quality. I'm just hoping that when the next tournament comes, that Arsenal have found someone to give him a rest, because he just looks shattered at points. Kobbie Mainoo, he didn't play, did he? I don't know what it is there. I hope Tuchel gives him an opportunity, because he's such a quality player, and I think he does add something that was missing from this team, to be honest. Jordan Henderson played a few minutes. I don't think he'll be at the next tournament, to be honest. I think we need to look elsewhere for sort of controlling defensive type midfielders, an Adam Wharton maybe, James Garner, maybe somebody else, maybe even like Miles Lewis-Skelly maybe, but someone like that. Jude Bellingham is the best England player by far. He's one of the best England players I've ever seen. He scored the most goals of an England player ever at a World Cup. And yeah, he's quality, man. And he's 23. He's still got so far. He's got time to improve. He's an absolutely brilliant player to watch. And to see a Brummie/Dudley lad, I know there's a bit of controversy around that, to be doing bits, I love it. So yeah, he's got to stay. Morgan Rogers was decent at the tournament. I think, there are areas of his game he could improve a bit. I think he works best maybe coming off the left-hand side, because I think with the double pivot, we need more controlling midfielders there, is what I'd say there. Eberechi Eze looked quality in that France game. I think he's a decent player. I just hope he improves at Arsenal, because for me, he does offer more than maybe like a Morgan Gibbs-White does in terms of positionally, but I think Morgan Gibbs-White is a fantastic footballer, and I still probably would have put him ahead of Eze, in my opinion. Bukayo Saka, he's had his injury issues, but when he's played, he's looked really good. 3 goals and 3 assists at this tournament. He's been quality when he's played, and yeah, he's going to continue to be a star for England as long as, you know, he gets a proper second-hand replacement for them. But speaking of Madueke, he did well in the Croatia game, but I just don't think he's good enough to be playing for England. Like, Jared Bowen, we'll have to see what happens, because he's staying at West Ham. Maybe he'll get an opportunity because, you know, West Ham will hopefully get promoted. I think that maybe Cole Palmer will improve. I think we need a better backup right winger, to be honest. Then Rashford was pretty good at this tournament when he played. You know, I don't think it was his best tournament for England, but I think he's still... we'll see how he does. It looks like he's staying at United, so we'll see how he does, but I think he was solid. Anthony Gordon really grew into the tournament. Brilliant, changed the game against Congo. Was really good in the quarter-final and also the semi-final as well. He looked the part, and I hope at Barcelona he will grow as a player. He will improve. His goal-scoring abilities will improve, and you know, I think he has potential to be with England for a bit of time, in my opinion. And then going forward, Harry Kane was a bit disappointed in the quarter and semi-finals. I still think he's a quality striker. He's still one of the best strikers in the world. We'll have to see how he's like in a couple of years' time, but I imagine he'll be at the Euros next time. Tony, as I said, he gets into good positions. He's a threat in the box, but I don't know. I think being in the Saudi League means he might struggle with the quality of opponents. But then the Saudi League, I think in 2 years' time, will probably have more quality players in it. So we'll have to see with him. And Ollie Watkins, he just, I don't know, he never really does amazingly for England. He's a good goal scorer. He gets into good positions because of his pace. But yeah, I think we need to find a new quality striker, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, that's my thoughts on it. And Thomas Tuchel, he didn't get it right in the semis, and I think he knows that. But I think looking at most of the tournament, he made good decisions, he made good substitutes. Even in this game, he was like, right, we're losing the game a bit. Bring Anderson on to control the midfield, bring Jude on to like take the ball forward, and it worked. I think he's a good manager, and I think people are slightly overreacting. He made a bad decision in the semi-final, it cost us. But I think he'll learn, and fingers crossed we can go win the Euros next time out. I think we can. I think it is possible, but we'll have to see. And that's my thoughts on England now. So we will move on to the World Cup final. And Spain beat Argentina 1-0. Football won. And honestly, Argentina put in probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a World Cup final. They didn't have a shot till like, what, the 110th, 117th minute? It's pathetic. It was embarrassing. Messi was anonymous most of the game. Spain just played lovely football. They got into good positions. Their shots weren't penetrative enough. Like, they just kept going straight at Martinez outside of, you know, the Yamal free kick. Then extra time comes. Spain just took it up a level, you know. Nico Williams added something when he came on. Ferran Torres was more of a threat than Mikel Oyarzabal. You know, Pedri caused problems as well. That Spanish midfield, by the way, Rodri is brilliant. The defence of Cucurella, Pedro, Pau Cubarsí and Emerick Laporte are great. And Simon, he didn't have much to do, did he? And then Spain get that goal. I don't think that should have been ruled out, to be honest. I think the referee was very harsh there on disallowing the goal. Argentina got their comeuppance with that Enzo Fernandez sending off. Arguably, Paredes should have been sent off as well. They were really dirty, as you'd expect, but the referee actually managed the game decently outside of that goal. And then they finally get a goal. Lovely layoff by Williams, and it's a fantastic finish from Ferran Torres. And that was enough for Spain. I mean, obviously, there was the offside Torres goal. He was just offside, which is a shame. Argentina then gave it a go, and they were very close to scoring, but good Spanish defending. And Spain deservedly won that game. It was not the best World Cup final. It's arguably the worst one that I remember. I'm just trying to think. The 2010 one was better. The 2014 one, yeah, it probably was the worst World Cup final that I've ever seen. I mean, Spain were great to watch. They played good football, but Argentina were just poor. And they tried to take it to penalties and it didn't work. So, yeah, Spain deservedly won. Rodri, player of the tournament, I think that's fair enough. The way he controlled that Spanish midfield was fantastic. The way he led that Spanish midfield was fantastic. Yeah, Man City are going to have Rodri and Elliot Anderson in midfield next year. That's going to be a quality midfield, I've got to say. Pau Cubarsí won Young Player of the tournament. I think, yeah, he was very good defensively. That Spanish team conceded one goal. Unai Simon won the Golden Glove. They are a fantastic defensive team. And he's 19. I think, people talk about Yamal, and he had a decent tournament. I don't think he quite turned up, but he was decent in the final. But Pau Cubarsí, what a talent Barcelona have on their hands there. And Mbappe was the top scorer. He's now the top scorer of all time at World Cups as well, and he's only going to build on that. Especially, I think Messi's probably going to retire after this tournament, by the looks of things. So, yeah, Argentina's last dance, so to speak. I think it looks like the manager was quite emotional. It looks like he might step down now. So this might be the end of an era for Argentina. And, yeah, team of the tournament I don't think has been announced, but, you can go check that out afterwards, I think. But yeah, football won, and then Argentina's player decided to attack one of the Spanish players. It's disgusting scenes. Argentina, they're dirty, they're sore losers, they're just very unlikable footballers. Lisandro Martinez is injured, so yeah, he plays well for Argentina and gets injured for United again. So that's another injury issue we have to deal with. But yeah, Spain won, deservedly so. Back-to-back Euros and World Cup wins. They are one of they're one of the best teams in the world. They beat France and they managed to make this Argentina team look very, very below par. So fair play to them, and they deserve to win it. And now England is the only team who's won the World Cup who's not won it twice. So we need to change that. But congrats to Spain. They are fantastic to watch. They're a quality team and deserved winners. And that's it. The World Cup's over. I'm very sad. The next time the World Cup's on, I'm going to be 32. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. And we will be in the 2030s as well. But, yeah. That's all, folks. Thank you for watching these videos. I hope you enjoyed them. If you love football content, go check out my predictions videos. They've been doing decently well. And, subscribe. I am going to be covering the men's football season, the women's football season soon as well. Probably just before the season start, I'll do little videos for those. I'll have a bit of a break from football for a bit, maybe talk about music festivals and music releases for a bit, give the fans of those something to watch. But I hope you've enjoyed my videos. Let me know in the comments, are you happy with the result? Do you think Spain were the best team at the tournament? Do you think England should have done better? Do you think the awards given out were deserved? Let me know. But until next time, folks, and for the last time talking about the World Cup, this has been another Tom Talks.